Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I want to walk you through what it actually looks like to detox and heal after a relationship with a covert narcissist, or really anyone who falls somewhere on the cluster B spectrum. Narcissistic, borderline, histrionic, or antisocial personality patterns. I'm focusing on romantic relationships here. I'm not trying to lump every one of these disorders together, they're each distinct and there's a wide range of severity. But after coaching people through this for over 10 years, I've found that the road back to yourself looks remarkably similar no matter which label applies. Because what they all share is the same trick. They hook into your basic attachment wiring, your survival instincts, and your need for connection, and use that to build something that starts to feel less like love and more like a dependency. If this resonates, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. And a quick note, this is educational content only. If you're in the middle of this yourself, please lean on a licensed therapist or counselor near you. Okay, let's get into the stages. Stage 1, shock and disbelief. In the first days after the final breakup, there's often a strange sense of relief. The chaos has stopped, at least for now. But if you cycled through breakups with this person before, which is extremely common with BPD especially, some part of you doesn't fully register that it's really over. Once it sinks in that she isn't coming back this time, that relief curdles into disbelief. You can't make sense of it. Your mind is racing, foggy, stuck on replay, and you cannot stop thinking about her. Emotionally, you're blindsided, discarded, betrayed, anxious, low. Your body feels it too, drained, wiped out, unable to focus or get anything done. You keep circling back to one question, why? You feel like you're losing your grip because none of it computes. How did something that felt so incredible turn into this? There's a hollowness inside that feels like only she can fill it. And just like someone coming off a substance, you're in withdrawal. Part of you wants to reach out, apologize for things that weren't your fault, promise to change, anything to make the pain stop. But if you've been through this loop enough times, you already sense that nothing you say will change the outcome. If she left first and has already moved on, that panic gets sharper. You might find yourself calling mutual friends or her family, fishing for information, desperate for some kind of explanation, chasing this thing the way an addict chases a fix. Stage 2, obsessive replaying. By now you know she's not coming back, and you're trying to force her out of your head, but you feel awful. Mentally and emotionally, you're barely functioning. Eating is hard, decisions are hard, everything feels heavy. The anxiety, the grief, the sadness, it all seems to get worse instead of better as the days go by. So you lean into the anger for relief. You replay every hurtful thing she did, every disrespectful moment, and that's the only place you find any comfort. Then, out of nowhere, a memory surfaces, something tender she once did, a perfect moment, an intense physical connection, and that addictive high comes rushing back. So you swing between the two, reliving the worst of it and then the best of it over and over, and all you want is to fix things, or failing that, get some closure. And here's the hard truth, closure isn't coming. You can beg for it, need it desperately, and it still won't arrive. So you stay trapped in this loop, replaying the relationship frame by frame, trying to understand how it all happened, banging your head against the same wall again and again. Stage 3, self-doubt. As you keep replaying everything, you start turning the lens on yourself, wondering what you did wrong, whether you're actually to blame. This self-doubt deepens because you're desperate for some kind of explanation. You go to people close to you looking for reassurance, but most of them just don't understand the depth of what you lived through. They tell you comforting things. It's not your fault. She was crazy, without really grasping it, and you might even have a friend suggest you try again with her, having no clue how damaging that relationship actually was, or what someone with an untreated personality disorder is truly capable of. Still, you keep dissecting your own role in it. The self-doubt runs on a loop in your head for a while. You're distracted at work, not taking care of yourself, pulling away from people, stuck inside a cycle of guilt and regret playing on repeat until you find yourself withdrawn from the world and living almost entirely inside your own head. Stage 4, anger and blame. You've probably felt flashes of anger this whole time, but here it really lands. Maybe you now have enough clarity to see you'd only be walking back into the same destructive cycle if you return. Or maybe she's already moved on and is showing it off. looking happier than ever without you, posting like the relationship never happened while you're still in pieces. That's usually when real anger sets in. You gave so much and you got discarded. And now it looks like her new partner is somehow better than you, like it's proof you were the problem all along. But here's the reality: she was very likely emotionally checked out or already attached to someone new long before things officially ended with you. Don't read into any signals that she misses you or feels bad. Those breadcrumbs only exist to keep you emotionally tethered and second guessing whether you lost the best thing you'll ever have. It's a trap, and falling for it only feeds more anger and more blame. Stage 5, the research phase. If you haven't already started digging by this point, you probably will soon. You feel terrible. Nobody around you seems to have the answers, and things aren't improving on their own, so you turn to research. And once you start, it opens something up. You finally find language for what happened to you. And while it doesn't erase the pain, it does bring relief to realize you weren't the problem, that there was nothing you could have said or done differently. Your emotions are still everywhere. Anger one moment, longing and tears the next. Replaying good memories, craving a deeper understanding. And suddenly, your whole world narrows down to this research, video after video, hour after hour. This is where I strongly encourage going no contact if you can, or full gray rock if kids are involved. And just as importantly, at some point, stop researching. The research itself can become its own addiction, and it quietly keeps you tied to your ex instead of letting you rebuild who you are. Once you have the understanding you came for, keep going down that rabbit hole and it starts working against you, keeping you stuck, replaying the same narratives, and often pulling you into a victim mindset, which is not a place you want to live. This phase matters, but there's a point of diminishing returns. Eventually, there are no new answers left to find online, and there won't be any more waiting for you elsewhere either. So it becomes time to stop talking about her, stop dissecting it, and start actively redirecting your mind. Stage 6, acceptance. As you pull back from the replaying and the researching, your mood begins to even out, and you start feeling more solid mentally. You notice she's crossing your mind less. There's more understanding now, more acceptance of what you went through, and you don't feel quite as raw or exposed. You're stronger, but you might still feel like a faded version of who you used to be. Catching glimpses of your old self in the mirror, drifting back to hobbies you once loved, even if they don't spark the same excitement yet. You start going out again, maybe change your look, maybe start dating. And if you're fortunate, she stays away. But if she's a narcissist, there's a real chance she'll resurface here, often because her new source of attention is fading. A random "I miss you," or "I had a dream about you," or suddenly realizing how great you actually were. This tends to happen precisely because you've rebuilt yourself into someone worth pursuing again. Hopefully, by this point, your understanding runs deep enough to recognize that going back means walking straight into the same cycle, getting discarded all over again, and this time healing will be far harder because you'll have been fooled twice by the exact same playbook. If you hold the line and stay no contact, you're ready to move into the next stage. Stage 7, healing and a new normal. This is where real healing begins, a new baseline. You're firm in your decision to never return to that kind of relationship, and you feel better across the board, mentally, emotionally, physically, reconnecting with the people and things you used to enjoy, but there's often still a quiet emptiness underneath it. And in some ways, you've lost trust, not just in one person, but in people generally, because what you went through shattered your sense of how relationships are supposed to work. You know logically that good people exist and that you're a good person too, but you stay guarded, unwilling to be fooled again. Maybe you're dating, but nothing quite clicks. Every small thing reads like a red flag, or the connection just doesn't hit the same intensity your PD partner gave you because you're missing that addictive high. And without it, everything else can feel flat. That can leave you wondering if you'll ever feel real joy again. But this is usually the exact point where you become ready for the next piece of your healing, reconnecting with who you actually are, figuring out what made you vulnerable to this kind of dynamic in the first place, and deciding what you need to release so you can move forward. Turning the experience into fuel for growth instead of letting it become a wound that follows you for the rest of your life. If this helped you make sense of where you're at, drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you want to go deeper on personality disorders, check out my full playlist on narcissistic and borderline personality disorder.